Hello, dear friends. You are watching WStv, and this is our live show of current affairs, our daily show. During a recent speech on Monday at Business Roundtable CEO's quarterly meeting, Biden, the US president, has claimed that the world was at an inflection point which occurs every 3 or 4 generations, and it was up to the US to determine the outcome. Biden further added a new world order would soon be established and that it was up to the US to lead it. Besides UK Prime Minister Tony Blair, the phrase New World Order has been used by at least two former US leaders, President George Bush and former US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. For decades, the phrase New World Order has also been the subject of a major conspiracy theory devised by the far right elements claiming that a secret elitist plot to form an oppressive global government is at play. It was anyway not told by Biden what precisely this New World Order means and what does it offer for the world, leaving it to wild imaginations. Probably the US president was shy of publishing its meaning to the world, of telling the world what does it mean in essence. The New World Order for Biden obviously means what it meant for George Bush in 1990. This means unipolar domination of US over the whole world. This means neo-colonization of the backward periphery to the advanced metro of the world. This means complete domination of the East to the West, of the South to the North, and finally of the world to the US. This call for New World Order can be well understood as a departure from the old foreign policy of US first, devised and practiced under Donald Trump regime, who deemed NATO an obsolete entity and often disputed even the alliances between US and its European allies. Making it more clear in contrast with the previous policy, Biden cited the dark history of US hesitance in involving itself in the European wars as an example of how Europe's security is in the American interest. Underscoring a volte-face in US foreign policy under him on his tour to Poland, Biden made a striking comment in his talks with Polish President Andrzej Duda in Warsaw, saying that America's ability to meet its role in other parts of the world rests upon a united and secure Europe. We have learned from sad experiences in two world wars. When we have stayed out of and not been involved in stability in Europe, it always comes back to haunt the United States, claimed Biden. This is clear shift in foreign and overall policy of US government towards reclaiming a global role that was lost. Rather, we should say that it was surrendered during Trump administration. Apart from assuming once again the leadership role that US has lost earlier, Biden has signaled the inauguration of a new era of global domination, though couched under demagogy of free world. The zigzag policy of the US is the fallout of a global crisis of capitalism leading to its complete breakdown. The ruling elite in imperialist countries is making frequent policy shifts in its quest for revitalizing the rule of capital and keep it intact for at least some more time. Boasting of the enhanced role of the US in the New World Order, Biden, though, remained totally non committal even on securing airspace in Ukraine. This left Ukraine's leaders dismayed. We are very disappointed, in all honesty. We expect more bravery, expected some bold decisions. The alliance has taken decisions as if there is no war, claimed Andriy Yermak, head of the office of the President of Ukraine. US has continued to reject Poland's proposal to facilitate the transfer of its MiG-29 fighter jets to Ukraine. It has also not responded favorably to the call by Polish President for a more permanent NATO defense posture in the Poland alongside an international peacekeeping force in Ukraine. United States is obviously afraid of the peacekeeping proposition, suggesting it could violate the Red Rubicon policy of keeping Western troops out of the direct conflict. It must not have forgotten its recent shamefaced exit from Afghanistan after a crushing military defeat, and therefore it is not ready to get involved in Ukraine war. To take up the leadership role in the contemporary world that has undergone drastic change in the last 2 decades is not such an easy task for the US as now. Whatever it may claim, but it is finding the new role full of thorns and difficulties. The chief hurdle on its path is Russia after China. Both Russia and China are deterrent to the eastward expansion of the West. Both are claiming their bigger share in the elite imperialist club that Western powers neither are willing to give nor have the capacity to give. The acute economic crisis continuing from 2008, followed by the downturn of world economy during the pandemic, has left the world economy in the lurch. The New World Order, under unipolar domination of United States, cannot be established except through the complete pulverization of Russia and China. This is exactly what United States is proposing. It is striving to throw both Russia and China back into their colonial status and age. But this is not possible without a devastating war that must essentially turn to a nuclear holocaust and, in all probability, the onset of a nuclear winter. The question is thus, is US ready for such a war? No. The question cannot be raised and posed like that. The question can be correctly posed only in that if imperialism can escape the rigor of open armed conflict and war. This is the real question. The answer is an obvious and big no. Imperialism is destined to land into war sooner than later. War is the final destiny of the market competition between the corporates. The blind race for profits is to land in war among the nation states in which these corporates are rooted. The New World Order, touted by the US president with so much fanfare, is the order of unlimited domination of world capital led by the US, the order of wars and bloodshed, the order of plunder and unlimited violence. This world order would obviously stand upon infinite exploitation and repression upon the working class all over the world, including in the US and Europe. This order thus has to be opposed tooth and nail by the working people and rejected in toto. International working class, that includes the working class of US and Europe, must not only reject this order but must present its own answer to the existing crisis of capitalism that is giving rise to most reactionary tendencies, fascism inside the national frontiers, and war outside of them. Thank you very much, friends, for being with us. We'll meet you again. Good night.